I tested some of the best handheld consoles of 2025, and in this video, I'm gonna rank them in a tier list based on their value for money, overall performance, and more. Links to all of the products will be in the description below. Steam Deck OLED. This handheld absolutely blew me away with its gorgeous OLED display and incredible library access. The combination of thousands of Steam games, excellent emulation capabilities, and that beautiful 7.4-inch screen at 90Hz makes this an absolute powerhouse for both modern and retro gaming. While the battery life could be better at 2 to 4 hours for intensive games, the ergonomics are so perfect that I can game for hours without any discomfort. The thing just feels right in your hands, and having access to my entire Steam library makes it a no-brainer for PC gamers who want portability. I'm putting this beast in God tier because it's the perfect balance of performance, price, and user experience. Lenovo Legion Go. This massive 8.8-inch powerhouse with its 144Hz display is basically a laptop disguised as a handheld. The detachable controllers are genius. I can actually use this thing as a proper workstation when I need to, and that right controller turning into a mouse is surprisingly useful. The performance is absolutely insane, running AAA titles like Starfield and Black Ops 6 at around 100 FPS, which just destroys most other handhelds. However, the battery life is brutal at only 60 to 90 minutes, and this thing is an absolute unit that takes up half my backpack. It's perfect for power users who want a true PC replacement, but casual gamers might find it overwhelming. I'm placing this in the God tier because when you need raw power and versatility, nothing else comes close. OnePro Cloud. This 7-inch handheld really surprised me with its focus on cloud gaming and streaming capabilities. The full-size capacitive sticks feel amazing and remind me of an Xbox controller, plus the 4K video output makes it great for TV gaming. At 430 grams, it's lighter than I expected, and the improved speakers actually sound decent for a handheld. The problem is that it feels stuck between a streaming device and an emulation machine. It doesn't excel at either one. The ergonomics could definitely use some work with those sharp corners, and after 2 years they still haven't fixed the design issues. This is perfect for people who primarily game through cloud services or want a decent emulation device, so I'm putting it in the gray tier for its solid streaming performance and a reasonable price. R36 Max 2025. This little retro machine is honestly pretty charming with its quirky soccer ball design and that unique 720 to 720 squared screen. The 4-inch display looks surprisingly crisp and bright, making it perfect for vertical arcade games and classical console emulation. With 18,000 plus preloaded games and 6 hours of battery life, it's a solid choice for pure nostalgia gaming. But let's be real, the build quality feels cheap, some games are in foreign languages, and the button layout is too small for adult hands. This is clearly aimed at casual retro gamers who just want something that works out of the box without any fuss. The performance caps out at PlayStation 1 level, so don't expect anything modern. I'm placing this in a good tier because it does exactly what it promises for a budget price, even if it's nothing spectacular. MSI Claw 8 AI+. This absolute monster completely destroys every other handheld when it comes to raw gaming performance. The 8-inch VRR display is stunning, the Hall effect joysticks feel incredible, and the battery life is surprisingly good at 4+ hours for indies and 2+ hours for AAA games. The build quality is premium with those RGB lights and satisfying buttons, plus having 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports is incredibly useful. However, the price tag is absolutely brutal and will make most people's wallets cry. The lack of VRAM customization options is disappointing for a device this expensive, and the back texture feels unpleasant during long gaming sessions. This is purely for enthusiasts who need the absolute best handheld performance and don't mind paying premium prices for it. I'm putting this in the gray tier because while it's most powerful handheld available, that same price keeps it from being perfect for most people. Nintendo Switch 2. This console delivers an absolutely massive performance upgrade with its 7.9-inch 1080p 120Hz display that makes handheld gaming feel incredibly smooth and vibrant. The improved ergonomics and larger Joy-Cons finally solve the comfort issues that plagued the original Switch, making it genuinely comfortable for extended gaming sessions. The fact that it can run demanding titles like Cyberpunk 2077 with DLSS support is mind-blowing for a Nintendo console, and the 4K docked output puts it in premium territory. However, the battery life takes a significant hit at only 3 to 4 hours, and the rising price point pushes it closer to premium console territory. I'm placing this in the God tier because it's the definitive handheld experience that finally bridges the gap between portable and console gaming. Nintendo Switch Lite. This thing nailed the portable gaming experience with its lighter weight and more comfortable grip that makes it perfect for long gaming sessions on the go. The smaller 5.5-inch screen actually makes some games look sharper due to the tighter pixel density, and you get slightly better battery life at 3 to 7 hours compared to the original Switch. The major downside is the complete lack of TV docking functionality, which limits its versatility, and missing features like HD Rumble and the IR camera cut out some game experiences. It's really designed for people who never use dock mode and just want a dedicated handheld, which is a pretty specific audience. I'm putting this in the great tier because it excels at what it's designed for, pure handheld gaming, even though it sacrifices the versatility that makes the Switch special. Logitech G Cloud. This device has an absolutely gorgeous 7-inch 1080p display with great brightness levels that work well outdoors, and the 12+ hour battery life is genuinely impressive for extended gaming sessions. The build quality feels solid with console quality controls that are comfortable to hold, making it feel like a premium device in your hand. The problem is it's basically an Android tablet with gaming controls that relies entirely on cloud streaming, which makes it useless without a stable internet connection. The $350 price point feels steep for something with a weak Snapdragon 720G processor and only 30GB of usable storage, especially when you can't play games natively. I'm placing this in the good tier because while it does streaming well with great hardware, the limited functionality and high price make it hard to recommend over more versatile alternatives. Asus ROG Ally X. This beast packs serious power with its AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme chip that puts both the Steam Deck and Nintendo Switch to shame in terms of raw performance. The improved 80 watt-per-hour battery doubles the capacity of the original Ally, giving you a respectable 3+ hours of gaming time. And the 24GB of RAM with 1TB storage means you're not constantly managing space. However, Windows 11 on a handheld is still a nightmare to navigate with touch controls, making the user experience clunky compared to more streamlined competitors. The performance is incredible when it works, easily handling demanding games at high settings, but the software experience holds it back from being perfect. I'm putting this in the God tier because despite the Windows issues, the sheer power and improved battery life make it the best choice for anyone who wants to play demanding PC games on the go. Valve Steam Deck. This handheld revolutionized portable PC gaming with its excellent SteamOS interface that just works, making it incredibly easy to access your entire Steam library without the headaches of Windows. The OLED version brings a gorgeous 90Hz display, a refined design that feels premium, while the Linux-based system allows for extensive customization and emulation possibilities. The main weakness is performance. While good for its price point, it can't match the raw power of newer competitors like the ROG Ally X, and battery life is still limited at around 3 to 4 hours. The $399 starting price makes it incredibly accessible, and the fact that it just works out of the box without software headaches is a huge advantage. I'm placing this in the great tier because while it may not have the highest performance, the user experience and value proposition are outstanding for most players. Razer Edge. This thing's running on the Snapdragon G3X Gen 1, which puts it about on par with phones from a few years back. And honestly, that's both its strength and weakness. The 6.8-inch AMOLED display is absolutely gorgeous at 144Hz, making everything look crisp and vibrant, especially when you're streaming games through cloud services like GeForce Now or Xbox Game Pass. But here's the kicker. At $400, you're essentially paying premium money for what amounts to a fancy Android tablet with a Kishi controller attached, and your phone can probably do most of the same stuff already. The performance is solid for emulation up to PS2 or GameCube era and handles mobile games without breaking a sweat. But the battery life is mediocre at around 6 hours and it's loud when that fan kicks in. I'm putting this in the average tier because while it does what it promises, the price to value ratio just doesn't make sense when there are better options out there for the money. Ayn Odin 2. This beast is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, making it hands down the most powerful Android handheld you can get right now. And it absolutely destroys everything in emulation performance. The build quality is fantastic with comfortable ergonomics that actually feel designed for human hands, plus that gorgeous 1080p 60Hz screen makes everything look crisp. The thing is, all that power comes with Android's limitations. You're still at the mercy of emulator quality and compatibility, and while it can theoretically handle up to Switch-level emulation, the reality is often messier than the marketing suggests. Plus, there's definitely a learning curve here since you need to mess around with different emulators and settings to get the most out of it, which isn't everyone's cup of tea. I'm placing this in the average tier because despite being incredibly powerful, the Android ecosystem and the patience required to optimize everything holds it back from being truly great for most people. Miyoo Mini Plus. This little pocket rocket punches way above its weight class with its beautiful 4:3 IPS display that makes Game Boy Advance games look absolutely stunning. At just $70, it's incredibly well built with responsive face buttons and a solid D-pad. Plus it comes preloaded with thousands of games right out of the box, making it perfect for casual retro gaming sessions, and the main limitation is that it's really only good up to PS1 era games, so don't expect any PSP or more demanding emulation, and the ergonomics can get uncomfortable during longer play sessions. But honestly, for what it is, a truly pocketable retro gaming device that just works, it's hard to beat the value proposition here, especially since it handles everything from NES to PS1 flawlessly. I'm putting this in the good tier because it knows exactly what it wants to be and executes that vision perfectly, even if it's not trying to be everything to everyone. MSI Claw M1M. This thing is built around Intel's Miyoo Arc graphics, which sounds exciting on paper, but the reality is way messier than MSI would have you believe. The ergonomics are actually pretty solid with comfortable grips and good button placement, plus those Hall effect joysticks should last forever. But the performance is wildly inconsistent, with games either running decently or crashing due to low VRAM. When it works well enough for older or less demanding titles, getting respectable frame rates on games like Portal 2 or Dying Light, but newer AAA games are a complete crapshoot. The real killer is that the Intel Arc drivers are still maturing, so you're basically beta testing graphic drivers on a $700 plus device, which is just not acceptable at this price point. I'm putting this in the good tier because when the stars align and everything works, it's actually a decent gaming experience, but the inconsistency and driver issues keep it from being anything more than just good enough. Lenovo Legion Go S. This is basically Lenovo's answer to the Steam Deck, and they nailed the hardware side of things with some of the most comfortable grips I've ever felt on a handheld and a bright 120Hz display that looks fantastic. The build quality is a massive improvement over the original Legion Go, with proper ergonomics and controls that feel precise and responsive. Plus, it charges incredibly fast and runs surprisingly quiet. The Windows experience is still rough around the edges with all the usual handheld Windows problems, but here's the thing. There's a SteamOS version coming that should fix most of these software issues. Performance-wise, it holds its own against the Steam Deck at 1080p medium settings, and at £549, it's positioned right in that sweet spot between Steam Deck models. I'm putting this in the gray tier because once that SteamOS version drops, this could genuinely be the Steam Deck alternative we've all been waiting for, and even with Windows, the hardware foundation is incredibly solid. Ayaneo Flip DS. This handheld features a dual-screen clamshell design with a 7-inch 1080p 120Hz main display and a 3.5-inch secondary touchscreen, powered by an AMD Ryzen 7840U processor. The battery life is absolutely terrible at just 1.5 to 2.5 hours, and while the dual screens work well for 3DS emulation, they feel gimmicky for most PC games. I'm placing this in the average tier because the innovation is cool, but the awful battery life and high price hurt its practicality. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you pick the best handheld consoles for you. If you have any questions, drop a comment below. Links to all of these products mentioned in this video will be in the description. Alright, peace out.